Are you a student who is currently taking up a research subject? Are you having struggles understanding the textbook discussions on creating an effective research paper? Or are you not satisfied with the discussions conducted by your research instructor? If your answer to these questions is a big yes, you're watching the right video. Good day mga kabulero! This video is the third part of this topic focusing on creating the first chapter of a research paper. This is a continuation of what we have established from part 2, which is about prior art search. Examples are also provided as reference to those students who have difficulties finding a guide throughout the process. So let's get started. Just a quick recap. Prior art search is a review of public documents to decide whether the idea in mind is worth pursuing or not. As a researcher, consolidating and writing the references following a prescribed academic format is one of the tedious tasks that I myself has struggled a lot. Thanks to the creator of the reference managers or the literature management tools, because this step is no longer a pain in the ass. The main objective of these tools is to simplify your reference management workflow so that you can focus on achieving your goals instead of spending so much time and effort in typing each of the reference details, observing a certain format. With these tools, you can store, organize, and search all your references from just one library. From hours of listing down the complete information of the reference materials, it can be done in a matter of minutes. The best thing about these tools is that it can be incorporated with word editing platforms like Microsoft Word as a plugin, and it makes the citation very easy. To be honest, I was not aware that there are tools like this in organizing references when I conducted my master's thesis. I became conscious of it by the time I enrolled in Mapua University for my PhD course. Looking back on what happened while I'm doing my master's thesis, I have prepared a table for each of the related document types containing the major components in writing down the bibliography. This way, I will not lose the primary details of the reference materials as I synthesize them along the way. I just wanted to show you how tedious it is in working on it manually. Let's give a first example. So if my reference is a book, I should be writing down the author's initials, the author's surname, the book title, edition, if it's not a first, the place of publication, of course, the publisher, and the year. And that's how it's being written on a table format. And this is not necessarily applicable to a certain academic format like IEEE or APA. This information is, or the gathering of this information is a necessity. Let me give another example to show how essential the reference management tools in doing a research. So here's another example. So if my reference is a journal article, I should be writing down the author's initials, the author's surname, the title of the article, the title of journal, the volume number, issue number, page numbers, and the month and year. That's a lot, right? And the books and journals are the very basic reference types that we can review. And of course, there are many other public references that we can investigate. We have conference papers, reports, patents, national standards, these theses or dissertations, data sheets, online documents, and websites. Look at how tedious the task would be if we were reviewing hundreds of reference materials. I have read a lot of reference documents, and it took me hours of preparing my reference list because every time I have read a better material, I made sure that it is listed on my handy-dandy table. So this is the main reason why it is very convenient to use a reference manager to consolidate and organize our reference documents. If this is your first time to hear about these reference managers and you are intrigued with my introduction, please watch until the end and you will be blown away with the capabilities that these tools can do. In the upcoming discussions, I am walking you through how to use Mendeley, which is a well-known reference manager which I used in composing my recent research paper. Also, I will be providing the step-by-step process of leveraging some of the indexing sites, such as Google Scholar, Scopus, Web of Science, IEEE Explore, together with Mendeley to appreciate how much time and effort will be saved by using these kinds of reference managers. We'll also be walking you through on how to use SpaceNet in utilizing a search for patents. So let's begin. So let me begin my walkthrough using the Mandalay Desktop. And when I say desktop, you might be asking why it's called desktop. There are two types of Mandalays. You have the Mendeley web version, and you also have the Mandalay Desktop. What I'm using right now is the Mandalay Desktop. That's why I have downloaded the application, save it, or installed it on my computer, and it's now running. So you might be asking how much the license of a professional Mendeley application is. I'm afraid to say that I don't have an idea as of the moment because my accessibility was provided by Mapua University and it's a student license. So my ultimate goal here is not to endorse any reference manager, but to show you how convenient it is of using a reference manager instead of doing the manual way of gathering information for our reference materials. So let me begin with creating a folder because what you can see here are my screen is already populated with the previous references which I've already added to my account. So let me create a new folder and let me type a title here. As I created test folder, it's now showing a blank page wherein we will be populating reference materials as soon as we progress with the discussion using the indices such as the Google Scholar, Scopus, and the Web of Science. All right, so let's divert our attention away from Mendeley and moving towards the reference indices, such as what we have here, Google Scholar, IEEE Explore, the Web of Science, and Scopus. In my previous video, I have shown an example on how to leverage Google Scholar in searching relevant or related literature and studies. For those who weren't able to watch my video about Google Scholar and how to leverage this index in reviewing related literature and studies, let me walk through another example using the web page. So opening scholar.google.com, you will be prompted with this search engine. So what we can do initially is to think of a keyword, and that keyword can be an exact or a partial keyword of your choice. It depends on what your idea is all about. Let me provide my first example using sorting machine as our keyword. So let me type in machine, hit enter. And currently it's showing 916,000. We also have what we call a wildcard search. So when we say wildcard search, we are commanding the indexing site to show us results which are related or relevant to our search without using the exact keyword that we have typed in. So in our example, it can be sorting machine, or it can be sorting machines, or it can be sorting machinery. So those are the expected outcome if we will be adding or if we will be performing a wildcard search. So to do a wildcard search, what we need to add is just an asterisk. So let's see if what will happen to the 916. Now it's 919,000. So we are expecting a much higher output or outcome using the wildcard search. Now, we want to trim down this 919,000 is about a million. So we wanted to see a much lower result. So what we can do is just add limiters like what sorting machine or what type of sorting machine are we concerned of. So I'll be adding fruit sorting machine is our keyword. Now you can see it's 52,400. It's much lower versus the 919,000 on the previous search. So we can still trim it down by limiting the range or the year. We can just get the first or the current 5 years. So that would be 2017 to 2022. So hitting enter. Now we're only seeing 16,100. So using the custom range, at least we are trimming down the search outcome in order for us to have an efficient way of reviewing relevant or related literatures on our study. So that's how we use indexing sites. And on the succeeding examples, we will be using IEEE Explorer, we have Web of Science and Scopus. We'll be doing the same format or the same manner as what we have performed in using Google Scholar. So before we head on to our next indexing site, let me first show you what are the things that we can leverage here so that we can partner it with Mendeley in consolidating our references. So previously I have pointed this site link, and this is very much important because by clicking this site link, it will show us citations. And what we can do is that we can download the citation and store it in Mendeley. So let's say we have here several options like BibTeX, EndNote, RefMan, and RefWorks. I usually use RefMan to be consistent on all of my undertakings. So for example, this reference is, I have read through the information in this, the abstract and other information, which might be relevant to my study. And I wanted to store this so that I can add it on my related literature and studies as we move forward or in the bibliography section of my research paper. So what I can do is just hit cite icon and then click RefMan. And it's now downloading on my drive, as you can see, scholar10.ris. And what I can do next is I will be storing this one on my Mendeley. So going back to Mendeley and on our created folder, as you can see, it's currently blank. What I can do is just click the add button here on the top left corner and then locate the downloaded citation. So this is the current citations we have downloaded. Double clicking and look at this one. So by clicking the entry here, what you can see is the basic information that are provided for a specific journal or article. We have the title and we have the journal. If there's an abstract, it will show up here, tags, author keywords, and so on and so forth. But what's good or what's convenient here is that you can click this specific icon and it will populate a page or it will open up a page to show you the information of this specific study or paper. So clicking this icon, it will open a new tab and look at the information which were provided. Title, quick abstract, and the references. See how convenient it is if you will be using Mendeley in consolidating your reference materials. This is not the entire functionality. This is just the beginning of how we will be able to leverage Mendeley in consolidating our references. All right, so moving Going back to our discussion about references, let me go ahead and open up IEEE Explore. So we're done with Google Scholar. We'll be using IEEE Explore to show an example, and I will be searching the same example as what we have provided, so that we can do a quick comparison on how or what are the outcomes using Google Scholar, IEEE, Explore, Web of Science, Scopus. All right, so using our sorting machine keyword, actually I'll be using the um, wildcard search. All right, so what we can see here is that we have 2,951 for our sorting machine keyword. So it's a bit less. Therefore, we can direct our effort to those closely related literature and studies to our idea. So we can still trim this down by using a custom range. Look at this one. The year is from 1910 to 2022. And before we trim it down using the year section, let me just use fruit sorting instead. All right, look at this one. It's only 88. And I can still trim this down by using the date here. So let me type in 2017 to 2022. Okay, apply. And see, we only have 53. All right, so that's a better number to be reviewed for the related literature and studies. If I have ample time, I can review all these 53 related outputs. But if you have limited time, you can still use several other filters. Like you wanted to sort this by the newest first or the oldest first. You can also sort it by the most cited by papers or most cited by patents. And this is very much relevant because if, for example, you have seen a paper which is usually being cited by other researchers, that signifies that it's a credible and novel work. All right, so we can sort this by patents or cited by most cited by patents. All right, and you can start your work or your review from the very top. All right, so that's how we will be able to leverage IEEE. And let's use one as an example. So clicking this first option, what we can do is we can store it to our Mendeley account. So you'll have here, cite this button. So clicking that, you also have the same options like plain text, bib text, RIS, and RefWorks. So what I can do is just click in RIS because this is what I wanted. I can download the citation, and then I can just go back to Mendeley to add it manually. So IEEE RIS, and there we go. All right, so we now have two more to go using Scopus and Web of Science. So we're done with IEEE Explore. Now we move on to Web of Science. Web of Science is another indexing site wherein most journals and conferences publishes their works here on Web of Science, and specifically for the academe, they prefer using Scopus. So using the Web of Science, we can also leverage the same keyword, sorting machine. Look at what we've got. So we have 300 or 3,832. We can still trim this down by using much concise keyword. And there you go. All right, so we now have 224. We can also do some filters, publication years right here. We can just select 2017 up to 2022. So we're fine. We now have 112. So same way of doing a quick search, and you also have the sorting mechanism right here. And citation, we have usage, conference, A to Z, author, publication title, and so on. So you can just navigate through each of the sorting options right here. We also have other options like you wanted to just filter articles or article title, book chapter, early access, and so on and so forth. You also have the categories right here and using the author. All right, so I will be clicking an example here, the development and testing of a low-cost belt and roller machine for spheroid fruit sorting. And what I can do is export, and this export button will just allow us to download the citation. So the options here, EndNote, online. So we are looking for RIS so that we have a consistent format of citation as we download it or save it to our Mendeley. So going back to Mendeley, we can just add that citation right here. And there you go, the development and testing of a low-cost belt and roller machine for spheroid fruit sorting. So you also have here the abstract as I clicked on the icon. And you can just, again, click through this icon so that you can open it up on a new tab for further information. All right. So we're done searching for related literature and studies using Web of Science. Now we'll be using Scopus, our next indexing site. So let's use the same keyword as what we've used before for the machine, and let's use a wildcard. There you have 8,264, and potentially these are from conferences, from journals, right? And what we can do is just to look for a way on how to trim this down. So let's just select the applicable year, such as 2017, 18, 19, 20, 20, 21, and 22. Limit from 8,264. It's now 3,247. So we can still have the ways of trimming this down. And as you can see, there are limiters that we can definitely add into our search. So search within search. So we can just type in fruit sorting. There you have 337 documents out of what we have implemented as limiters. So 337 documents is not bad. What I would like to show you next is I can show you how to search a study and in some indexing sites like Scopus. As I know, my research about electronic waste management was published in a journal indexed by Scopus. So let's use the search functionality. So we are looking for authors, and I'll just type in my surname. And there you go. So you have this one. So this is my thesis entitled Electronic Waste Analysis and Characterization Study, Management Input for Highly Urbanized Cities. And I am the author, and my co-author was my advisor from Bulacan State University. So that's how we leverage the indexing sites in performing a consolidation of related literatures and studies. So what we can do is also show you how to download the citation. Let's download this one from Scopus. And all right, so it's now downloaded as PDF. So what's good in reference managers such as Mendeley, they are compatible with RIS, BibTeX, and Notes, and also PDF. So those are, this is just a functionality that I can show you right now. Good thing that we have downloaded my thesis for electronic waste. So let me go back to Mandalay and open up the add button. So you have here the downloaded PDF format of my thesis. And as you can see, it's now added right here. All right, so opening this up. There you have it. So we're done with the functionality review of Mendeley as a reference manager and how we're going to consolidate each of the citations that we have gathered using the indexing sites such as Google Scholar, Scopus, Web of Science, IEEE Explore. Before we proceed to the last topic wherein I'll be showing you how convenient it is of creating the bibliography portion of our research paper, I wanted to show you another site where we can check on for related literature and studies. But this time, these are the studies or the literature which were patented. So going back to the activity, we're not only focusing on checking related literatures and studies which are published or what we call the public documents. We are also interested of knowing if there are already researches or arts which are already in the market, wherein our idea might be similar to what's already out there. So if you are familiar with patents, this is the site where you can check on your idea for relationships or for relatedness. So this is a SpaceNet, which is a patent search. So we can also leverage the keyword that we have used previously by going to advanced search. And I'll be just showing a quick preview of this, but this is a huge patent search, and this is a lot, or the output might be a lot, but it's a good thing that you are looking towards or reviewing all possible materials or documents out there, so that you are confident that your work is noble and credible. So using our keyword sorting, and there is an operand here, and, meaning that if the operand is and, meaning sorting and machines will be available on the title or on the abstract. So hitting enter, that's 16,978 results. So you have the sorting machine. But what we can do is we can add another field so that we can trim this number down a little bit. So we can add fruit to our search, right? We can also use our asterisk or our wildcard search right here. Now it's 663, a bit lower from before. And you also have the options here to sort: priority date, publication date, and so on. All right, that's how SpaceNet is able to help us in locating related literatures and studies for our idea. All right, so before we end our presentation, let me open up Microsoft Word. So we'll be showing you how to use Mendeley in writing down our bibliography or consolidating our references using an academic format. So going back to Mendeley, if it's not yet added in Microsoft Word as a plugin, you can go to Tools, and then the second option here is install MS Word plugin. It will automatically add up an icon in your Microsoft Word. And the indication that it's already added as a plugin, you can go to references, and the insert citation here is already available. If it's not yet added, this one is the insert citation is not showing up on your toolbar. So for example, you are now building your review of related literatures. So of course, you are writing down the synopsis of what you have found out after reviewing or synthesizing the related literature, right? So you have the text, and at the end, you have the citation, right? So to add that citation, and that should be a number and enclosed with a bracket if you are following the IEEE format, right? But if you are following other formats, it will be a different thing. So if we will be using IEEE as our format, what you can do is you can click Insert Citation, and then click Go to Mendeley icon and select the item of your choice. So for example, the second one, a classification algorithm for date fruits, and adding or clicking this site icon, it will automatically add this the number or the citation node. All right, so for example, the second one, we adding another citation, go to Mendeley, let's select the second one or the third one, and you have number 2. And you can also select multiple references. Let's say I wanted to select the first one and the last one. You can press Control, and you have selected 2 of them, and hit Cite. See? So that's very convenient if you are building your review of related literature. And the best thing about this one is if you are going to build your bibliography, that is because you just need to click one button and it will automatically generate all of the citations that you have added on your review of related literature section. So if this is your bibliography portion, I can just click Insert Bibliography at the center top portion of my screen, and it will automatically generate all information which were provided on the table if you will be using the manual way. And it's now following the IEEE format. So for example, our professor or someone from the panel members wanted us to use a different format aside from IEEE. We can definitely use APA, and it will automatically create a version of what we already have typed in. So one of the pain points that I have encountered when I am doing the manual way of building the related literature citation and the bibliography is that by the time that I have read another good related literature that I wanted to incorporate on my study, it's very tedious of adding it down on my related literature. And of course, if we are talking about IEEE, it's indicated by numbers. So for example, I'm adding it in between 1 and 2. So the numbering will be messed up on the bibliography section and also on the related literature section. So one of the good things using Mendeley is that I can just add another one here. Type it in here's the text, and let's insert a citation, a new citation, and that's from the Peely Fruit sorting device, the other folder that I've had. So I can click on cite and look at what happened. It automatically altered the numbering from 1 and 2 right here. It's now, it created a synchronous changes on the related literature section and also the bibliography section. So that is very convenient. And I hope you are able to appreciate the application or the examples that that I have provided, and the convenience of using the Mendeley as our reference management tool. All right, so let's go back to our presentation to show you the synopsis of what we have discussed today. All right, so in summary, references plays a major role in research papers as it shows how credible and novel an idea is. So in performing prior art searches, collecting the reference details is a tedious task that a researcher must undergo. Good thing we now have these reference managers, which simplifies our work in terms of consolidating, storing, and organizing our research materials into a single library. Moreover, citation links from indexing sites can be leveraged in consolidating reference materials in the reference manager. And finally, writing down the bibliography, observing the academic format is no longer a problem because the reference manager has a feature where you just need to click several buttons from the word editing toolbar and it will present all selected reference materials. I hope you've learned something from this video, so please stay tuned to the upcoming uploads as I break down what to consider for effective research and share my best practices using concrete examples. Ako ang inyong Inhinyerong Bolero and see you on my next video. God bless everyone.